God damn it, James, why'd you tell me? I wasted so many good yaps.
Welcome to Hashtag General, a show that has wasted so many yaps before we even started the show. Welcome to the last episode of the year for us, where we're going to do absolutely nothing special except do our normal thing. Lots to talk about. Like, it's actually, the list of things to talk about isn't long, but there's so much that we can talk about within this list that I've actually been looking forward to this episode, even though we're
Yeah,
45
we had to
minutes late.
skip we had to skip a whole bunch of stuff because I was in Florida and you were traveling and
Yeah, like,
uh,
so
a whole bunch of stuff.
yeah, let's kind of dive into like what we've been up to. Like, I went to Idaho for Thanksgiving, had a pleasant time with my sister, her partner, and my parents. We watched a lot of hockey. I'm even Chris. You can't see it, but I am repping the Kraken alternate logo on my T-shirt.
There you go.
Yeah, so I've been watching actually a lot of hockey outside of just seeing my family because I have a team now and they keep losing. But
Unfortunate.
unfortunately, yeah. They had a really good streak there, but then meh. But yeah, so I traveled, you traveled for work. It just has been kind of like a what would it's been what 3 weeks, 4 weeks of us just kind of been like busy, which is, it's not a bad thing, but yeah. So you said you had Tales of Florida. Like, why don't you
So
regale me
just
with
like
some Tales of Florida?
in general, like Florida's a crazy place. On the Saturday of the event, Saturday night, we ended up going to Disneyland or Disney World, sorry, Disney Springs, just go dinner and stuff like that. And like people look at you like you're crazy for wearing a mask. Um, and like that, it's that kind of
Duh.
place, right? So, anyway, the story that I want to tell you is how I freaked out the cashier at a Walgreens. So,
Okay.
so a lot of our company was there for because it's a major event. So we had 28 pandas on the floor. And so Sunday, I get a text message saying, "Hey, Bobby, who's one of our editors, just tested positive for COVID." And I was like, "Shit." So I go to my boss. I'm like, "What do we do?" Because obviously he's a doctor.
Yeah,
I don't know if I told you this, but yeah, so he's a doctor. I was like,
I knew that.
"What
I
do I
don't know
do?"
if everyone does.
Yeah, so my boss is Dr. Allen. So he not only does he own the esports team, but he is actually a medical licensed internal medicine doctor. But so anyway, I was like, "What do we do?" And so he gave me the company card. And he was like, "Go get COVID tests at the Walgreens." So I run in there, and I'm like, "I don't know how many to get because we're working with CEO staff as well. So and we're obviously running around. So not only are we testing our whole staff, but we're testing CEO staff. Like there's just a lot of people to test." So I was like, "Shit, what do we do?" So I just took my arm and I just kind of did the sweeping
The
motion
sweep.
across the shelf to like grab as many COVID tests as I could, right? And so like I bought like $1,000 worth of COVID tests
Oh my
because
god.
like $20 a pop, right? So I grabbed a whole bunch and I walked to the cash register and I'm holding like hundreds of COVID tests, right? And so I'm run up and the lady's like, I'm wearing the badge from the event, so the lady obviously knows that's why I'm there, and whatever. And so she goes, "Are you guys okay over there?" And I looked at her and I went, "We'll see." And I just grabbed the bag and walked out. But luckily everyone tested negative. Everyone was good. No issues, no problems. But yeah, that was a scary couple hours of like trying
Oh,
to
I
figure that out.
bet. Because that's like
But
the
yeah,
last thing you want is like a headline being outbreak at esports event.
yeah. But yeah, that was a pretty big mess. But yeah, that's sort of like obviously there's more stories, but that's like kind of the funny one of like, yeah, we I might have scared a cashier at a Walgreens.
Yeah, no, like your thing about not wearing masks, that was something that kind of caught me off guard too. Because of course I'm fully vaccinated. I still need to get my booster, but Idaho is one of it's thankfully not the worst state in terms of code for vaccinations, but it's pretty close.
Yeah,
Saw like no masks at the grocery store, like
yikes.
none at all.
Yeah, no bueno.
Yeah. Like I didn't realize it till we were at the grocery store, but like my like mask like had fallen out of my pocket. And so we got there and I'm like, oh crap, I don't have a mask. And I realized like no one is masked up. And I was just like, I feel weird and naked.
Yeah, it's pretty sketch.
Yeah. But thankfully that was the only time like we had like an excursion. It was just to a quick grocery run. But yeah, I've also so did that for some traveling. I've been rewatching Avatar and Korra in the background on top
Of
of all the
course.
other stuff we've been watching. And I've also been playing some Halo, which we're definitely going to talk about. And kind of been playing around with NHL 22 because
Yeah, because
I'm
you're in
wearing a
hockey.
Kraken t-shirt. Clearly, I like hockey.
Right.
So that's kind of what I've been up to. But
Okay,
shall we move
cool.
on?
Yeah, let's do it.
Dive in? Cool. James, let's dive into games. So the first thing we've got to talk about is Halo. As I told you before we started recording, I've only played the opening. In the campaign, I've only played the opening level because I realized immediately I had no clue what was going on in terms of the story. So I still need to watch a recap. Chris, you recommended I watch the IGN one, which I will definitely do. But what is your take on Halo's campaign? Because I can share Jeff's take on Halo's campaign.
I loved it. I I'm like kind of shocked that Jeff didn't. But yeah,
Loathed, I think, is the appropriate term. Like
I
he
loved it.
hated it enough to uninstall the game.
So I mean, it's open world. It's really different. Um, like I love it. It's like people are calling it Breath of the Halo because it's literally like Breath of the Wild. Like they took Breath of the Wild and they were like, what if we put Master Chief in this thing with a grappling hook and see what you can do? And like it's fucking awesome. I loved it. I love the freedom of it. I loved everything about it. I there's a whole element that like it opens up a whole avenue that like that game shouldn't have. Um, that just works. Again, and then the storyline of it, like for me, the most compelling stuff in the Halo universe has always been like the Cortana stuff.
Yeah,
And so they really dive deep into that, and there's some really touching moments there. And like I teared up twice while playing that game. Um, and like the ending to me is really satisfying, and like it wraps up a bunch of threads that like you've had as a Halo fan, but like at the same time opens up a whole bunch of new ones. They're like if people are new, there's a whole new way for them to get in. Like I just loved it. I thought they executed it great. Like is it the greatest game? No. Like is it the best one of the series? No. But like they did a fantastic job with what they had.
yeah. I know Jeff. When he would talk to me about it, it just felt like the balance was off to him, and that he thought that the open world element seemed to be almost crafted for co-op, which we can't do right now.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that. I mean, to me, I just had fun just like running around and like I'm not playing to me, I'm not playing a campaign for balance
Yeah,
and like for like I'm just there for the story and to have a good time, which I did. Like I had a blast just like blowing up a warthog and then grappling onto it and like flying through the air, right? Like I had a ton of fun doing that. Now the multiplayer stuff I think is perfectly balanced and they did a fantastic job. Like that's where I want the balance, right?
yeah.
But like
I'm
for
loving
me,
the multiplayer.
yeah, for me, like the multiplayer stuff is like where I want the balance and where I want like the where I want the game to feel perfect. But like in terms of general gameplay, like yeah, I'm not worried about um where my like where everything's going in the story and campaign. So yeah,
Yeah,
in terms of like just fun factor and like where it's going and like where the story was, like yeah, I loved it.
yeah. Jeff also like it almost felt like a perfect storm of things going wrong for him. Like at one point, it wouldn't load his save game on the computer, but it would on the Xbox. It was just like it seemed like everything that was going wrong or could go wrong did go wrong for him
Yeah, that
with
can be
that game.
frustrating.
And so
Yeah,
I
that
think
can
it
be
just was
frustrating.
like he had like a constant level of frustration going while playing the game. But I'm gonna still give the campaign a shot. I'm looking forward to co-op at some point in the future. Um, but I'm loving multiplayer. I'm starting to do. I feel like I'm doing what I did in college, where I would just sit down and I'd play like 2 rounds of multi matchmaking, and then be like, okay, I'm good for the day, and then just go off to do something else. Or I'll be like, I'm gonna just play Halo matchmaking for a couple hours. So I've been playing a lot. Really, I haven't done the battle pass. Have you done the battle pass?
Yes.
All right, is the battle pass worth it? Because
If
I
you're playing a lot, yes.
okay,
Because
because
like I'm leveling up pretty quickly. Um, and like again, I'm not like really playing to level up the battle pass, but like I'm still doing fine.
yeah, I want to say I installed it. God, what was it? A week ago. I just remember
Yeah.
messaging Discord and you being like, "Why are you doing this when I'm flying to Florida?" Um,
Yeah, I was very upset.
uh, and I think since then I have been playing probably at least half an hour each night.
Yeah, I mean, again, you don't need the battle pass. Like I the I know I'm gonna beat. I know I'm gonna complete the battle pass, so it's not a worry for me. But like, if you're at all worried about it, you level up the same way whether you have it or not. So like, just play, and then like at the end, if you want the battle pass, buy the battle pass.
Yeah, no, I want to say I've been playing like again roughly about 30 minutes every day, and I feel like every day I at least gain a level
Yeah,
with
and
just one or
again,
two
the
matches.
the season ends in like March or April or
Yeah,
May or whatever. So like, you're not. It's not like a time crunch. It's not like you're rushing to finish this thing.
but no, this does like scratch that weird Halo multiplayer itch, like the thing that most shooters, even Fortnite, like I'd enjoy them, but I think the fact that Halo is just you can kind of dive in really quickly. It's a little more. There's more variation in gameplay in terms of like objective. It's never like with Fortnite. You kind of have either two modes, either in the free for all craziness of Rumble, or you're in survival mode, which they're fun. But Halo, you have Rumble is basically Slayer, but then you also have like Capture the Flag, you have Oddball, you have just so many different things, and it was just fun to just sit down and be like, oh yeah, I don't. This is actually the other thing. I don't know if it's because I'm playing on a PC this time. I don't suck as much as I remember sucking. I don't know what it is, but for some odd reason, I feel like I'm playing better than I ever did at Halo 3. Like I want to say like my kill death average is probably better than 1, which for me is impressive.
It's good. But
Um
yeah, I'm having a blast with it. I think it's great.
yeah,
I'm very happy with where they landed on everything.
yeah, it was I realized this late last night. I was like, "Oh man, I bet Chris is probably playing soon." And then I was just like, I don't think Chris and I are friends on Xbox cuz I haven't had an Xbox in so long. And this is
Right.
the first multiplayer game I've had on Xbox. So it's been like over a decade, and I was just like, crap, I need to add Chris on Xbox so we can play. Um,
Yeah, I'm
so
playing a lot.
yeah, just shoot me a text,
Yeah,
and I'll jump on.
I'm playing that and Super Auto Pets. So like that's literally been my life for the last like
Yeah, well, we didn't
couple weeks.
talk about this in general. We kind of jumped through it. What is Super Auto Pets and why should I play it?
So Super Auto Pets has like become the hot Twitch game for the last couple weeks. Like Northern Lion, Ludwig, Stan, like they're all playing it. Um and like so it's an auto battler in the same way of like a TFT or like an auto chess. It's slightly different. Essentially, like you have animals, and they all have health and attack points, like any kind of other Magic the Gathering kind of game. Um, where this one differs is, well, I mean, it's not even that they differ. It's again more of the same, where you are getting these. You're buying up these units, and you have a team of 5 pets, and the so once you set your lineup, they just smash into the other team's pets. And all the pets have like special abilities and like different like things about them. So like a example is like the dog gets +1 every time a unit is summoned, right? So sorry.
Bless you.
Thank you. So, as soon as you summon a unit, like, yeah, okay, now I'm looking like now I want my dog at the end with a whole bunch of summoners so like he can be super strong, right? Or like, stuff like that, right? You're like trying to make the best team that you can. And yeah, it's a good time. It's something I would highly recommend.
Cool. Yeah, I'll have to check it out, especially since it's free to play, so I have no reason
Yeah.
not to. Again, I think that's the other thing to go back to Halo. Something I think that makes multiplayer even that more fascinating. It is, yeah, there's a battle pass component, but the multiplayer is free.
Yeah. Really
Like,
smart. And really smart they released it early.
yeah. Like I was playing it like for a week before campaign came out, and I could have played it for like weeks prior, and I just didn't.
Yeah. Really well done.
But yeah, like it definitely it feels like I'm jumped back into playing Halo 3 matchmaking, which is exactly what I wanted.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, Halo 3 matchmaking with a few more cool tools, but like even then Halo 3 had a lot of the equipment features already, like very rudimentary compared to what they do now, but they existed. So it's just I'm having to learn some of the new weapons. I think the one problem I would say with Halo multiplayer, having come from older versions of Halo, is I feel like there's a bunch of new weapons that I don't know, and
Yeah.
I question how many of them we need. But
I
you know
mean,
what? There's
I think they all have their uses, and I think like there's a certain amount of balance that like each one of them brings to the table. The thing that I will say, the only thing that frustrates me is like how much the Skewer and the Hydra look alike. So like at a glance, I don't know which one I have.
Yeah, I've used the Skewer. I haven't used the Hydra yet, but the Skewer, that was a fun one-hit kill on a turret.
Yeah, the Skewer is the Skewer is the one that, or not the Skewer, the Hydra is the one that it's like the assault rifle grenade launcher. I don't know if you've
Okay.
used that one. So yeah, it's fun. It's a good time, but it looks just like when it's in your hands. If you don't know the difference, like it looks just like the Skewer.
Yeah, no, there's something still fun about taking out the person who has like the sword or something and you just take them out with your pistol.
Yeah,
That's always fun. uh but yeah, I'm probably gonna play some more Halo today because of course I am. Um but let's move on. Like Halo thumbs up for
yes,
multiplayer.
well done.
Um but Game Awards, why don't you run me through a lot of the stuff there? This is a thing you follow way more closely than I
Man,
do.
I didn't even so the thing, uh,
You didn't have time this
I
year, did you?
well, I did. I regret having time. It's just a waste. Like it's such a waste of time that like the announcements were okay and they weren't like there's nothing crazy. There's nothing that was like mind blowing. And it was a thing of like it was 3 hours. It's getting to the point of like the normal award show thing where you're like, why do we need this?
It's running too long.
Yeah, you're like,
It's
why do we need this? And it's again, it's concerning because it's like I want this to be a big deal and I want this to be important, but like the deeper and deeper we go into this like award show rabbit hole, the more I'm like, it doesn't matter.
yeah,
Um,
it's the it stops becoming a celebration of the work and starts becoming prom. Is how
yeah.
I've described that's how I've described the Emmys and Oscars to people in
Oh
the
my god,
past. Is
it's
it's
just
just
like
prom.
yeah, and you're like, okay, this is clearly just something for like our industry to dress up and like hang out rather than like a celebration. Like no one cares about the awards anymore. And it's all about like the announcements and like the crazy shit that they're gonna announce. And like again,
Yeah.
that's fine when there's crazy announcements and shit to talk about, but like nothing happened.
Well, the
Like
thing I
it was just like more of the same. And like yeah, a Quantic game from Star Wars is cool, but like
we'll
do
talk
we
about that.
really need do we really need like a massive 3-hour Game Awards show to like tell me that.
Yeah, and the thing I found weird this year is I actually had to go looking to see what the nominees were and who won when I was like
Yeah,
putting together this list because everyone
yeah,
was talking about the announcements. Like no one was talking about the awards themselves, which is just kind of like, well, at this point, this is just like another E3 showcase or game
yeah,
showcase with
100%.
some awards attached.
Yeah, 100%. And it's a thing of like, again, it's it would be different if there were big announcements. Like if we got Breath of the Wild 2 trailer or a date or like a title even, if we got like a Metroid Prime 4 thing, if we got like any of the big, like if you got a Mass Effect 4 trailer, like if you got anything big, like cool, but we didn't.
Yeah, the one
And
big
like,
thing is Star Wars Eclipse, which we'll talk about here in a bit,
yeah,
but it's also
which like looks cool, but like also it's a Quantic game, and like how good is it actually going to be? And I know like that's blasphemous because and again I enjoy it. I really liked Detroit Become All, or like uh the Detroit Come Human or whatever, and I like all the stuff that they do, but like
yeah,
man, I don't know how excited I am for this game. It looks gorgeous, but I don't
yeah.
know how excited I am for it.
James, why don't you go
Um,
ahead and switch it to Star Wars? I guess my one final thought on a Game Awards, because we're already starting to dive into Eclipse, um, is I still don't get why Halo's on Paramount Plus, and I wasn't that impressed by the trailer.
no,
Um,
the trailer looked uh like a knockoff TV show. It looked like the Warner Brothers DC shows.
yeah,
Like it looked bad.
mm-hmm, agreed. I was not impressed. It's does not
It
bode
like
well.
yeah, it looked clearly green screen and like the suit looks garbage.
I feel like the suit always like this is the thing I think live action Halo is always gonna be dealing with is every time they've done live action Halo anything, I think the suit looks like garbage. And
Yeah,
I don't know
it
if
looks
it's
like it looks clunky and like again, even in the games like Master Chief looks clunky, but like there's a certain amount of like the clunky turns into like this power and like it's not so much clunky, but it's like this hulking like mass of
yeah, this
it's
massive
like
machine and man.
yeah,
And
but like you never get that across in the shows. It always just looks clunky.
yeah, I forget what's the like Halo live action thing they did a couple like
Forward onto Dawn or
Forward Unto
whatever. No,
Dawn.
was that
I
it?
I
Was that
think
it?
so. Yeah, I just remember watching it and thinking that the chief looked ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just it looks so bad.
Um, but yeah, that's the fun. Like that's I think ultimately the big problem again with the Game Awards this year was just like there was nothing big, and everything that did come out was kind of just like a nothing burger. Um, but Star Wars Eclipse because we're now on Star Wars. Um, I I haven't played Detroit Beyond Human yet. I've actually wanted to play that game for a while, but it's again it's one of those
I
didn't
really
have a
enjoy it.
PlayStation.
I
Like
think it's great.
I
Um,
really want to play it. It's now on PC, right?
I think so, but yeah, I love it. It's great. It's a good game. But again, it's something where like I don't know if that translates over to something where I'm like, oh, I could play a whole Star Wars experience this way. And I don't know if that's the best use of the Star Wars IP. But
I think
like
the
I'll play it anyway.
I think the thing that's most interesting is how they are now seeming to just dive all in to the High Republic era. Like they started with books and comics. We're now getting a game set in that era. One of the announced Disney Plus shows from last year, I think Acolyte was the name, is also set in the High Republic era. It's starting to look like Lucasfilm is kind of going all in on that era of Star Wars, which I think is probably the most interesting part of Eclipse for me. It wasn't just that it looked beautiful. Who knows how much of that was just like pre-rendered stuff for the game? Like there's that's the thing with trailers like this is like I have a ton of questions about like is this how the game is going to look or is this just something they created for the trailer? Um, but I'm excited that they are jumping into this era.
Yes.
So like you, I don't know Quantic stuff the way you do. I can't judge whether or not their stuff is good for Star Wars or not.
It's
But
just very, like it's the typical like I feel like they were the ones that kind of pioneered the all of the like decision making based like quick time event stuff, like the Telltale kind of stuff.
yeah,
It's that style of game, but Star Wars. So like I again, it's fun and it's a good time, but like, is that how I want to spend my 16 hours, whatever, in the Star Wars universe? I don't know.
yeah,
I
like
could be
it's.
wrong, but like, I don't know.
I mean, I'll play it.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Is like I'll
Yeah.
play it. I just don't know like how long am I gonna play it for? I don't know.
Yeah, it's. I guess the question too is like, how much of this is like, is it going to be like infinitely replayable, or is it just like kind of a quick run through? Like, it's there's the trailer
Yeah,
is
we don't
really
know
all the
enough.
info we have. We have pretty much it's set in the High Republic era. Here's a trailer, and that's kind of it. Um,
Yeah,
they've intentionally given us nothing.
yeah,
Um, did we even get a release date
no,
or like year at least?
no,
So this could be like next year or 2023 or later even. Like we just don't
yeah,
know. Heck, I don't think we were even given a release date for the Old Republic remake, were we?
no.
So there's now two Star Wars games that we know are in development with well, actually, let me rephrase. We have two Star Wars games that we knew were in development that have been announced with like a name and title. There's another from Ubisoft we know is in development that's supposed to be an open world Star Wars game, and that's all we know about it. And there's those pretty strong rumors that we're gonna get a Jedi Fallen Order 2 from
Yeah, I mean,
Respawn.
I would be amazed if that didn't happen.
God, the way that game ended, it screamed, "We're gonna do a sequel," at least to me.
Yeah,
And God, that game nailed Star. Like that's gonna be a thing. I think. Like I'm wondering how Knights of the Old Republic is gonna handle it because I felt like Jedi Fallen Order actually nailed what lightsaber combat should feel like,
yeah,
and Knights of the Old Republic and that style of game doesn't. So I'm interested to see how much of the remake is remaking combat. Um, but I think the other thing that the takeaway on this is we're already at a point where it's like we've received God, there's what 4 Star Wars games released under the EA license, right?
yeah,
Not including mobile.
yeah.
And we're already at like 3
3.
confirmed, a 4th rumored. It's like we're gonna be hitting that mark in, in like 2 years of Lucasfilm being like, okay, we're no longer just doing it through EA. But I guess that's the ultimate good thing. And now the other thing, just to say out loud, is Petroglyph, the company that did Empire at War. Like, I don't know if the company is still around or if it's just like a division of some other thing, but I do know because of things I've seen online that they have flat out said they would love to do another Empire at War. So please, I would love an Empire at War 2. Please, Lucasfilm, you're my only hope. Let's move on because we'll keep an eye on the clips. I'm sure we'll talk about it more in the future when we have more to talk about. But other than let's move on to TV. So you gushed about Arcane. I have
I
only
did.
now watched one episode because I did not do all my homework. But in that one episode, I think my big takeaway was I was pleasantly shocked about how fully built the world felt.
Yes.
which I think that says a lot to the people at Riot who've been doing all this world building and writing and lore, is that it didn't feel like they came up with stuff just for this. It felt like, oh no, this is a fully realized world and we're just getting a story from it.
Yes.
Something I would say, and I think we talked about this briefly, like with the Warcraft movie. It felt like if you didn't go in with a cheat sheet, you didn't know what was going on. Here, I don't feel like I need the cheat sheet. Like, they're just telling a story and it happens to be set in this universe and it's going to unfold in its own time. And that's at least, that's the sense I get with just the one episode. Like, I don't feel like I need to go through and start digging into League of Legends lore to understand what's going on.
Right.
So like, and it, I really do like the animation style. There were a couple moments, especially in the opening, where I felt like it fell to, and I think a lot of video game animatics fall into this rule of cool, where they do something because it visually looks cool, not because it actually is, it starts to become overly stylized in my opinion. And I felt like they fell into that like a couple shots at the beginning, but for the most part, they avoided it. Which made me happy. But like I like the style. I like it's 3D animated, but with like cell shading is I think the best way to describe it. And I like it when stuff does that style. I also do know that I think that makes it easier to on some level because you don't have to do as detailed of a world, but it's I don't know, they did a similar look with Star Wars Resistance. And like once you get used to that style, like it's very beautiful, but also can carry a lot of like the narrative abilities that come with doing a 3D universe rather than a 2D flat. Like still exists while it has the same artistic style, like look of something that's cel shaded. But yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing it. And I'm sure we'll talk about it again once I do finish it. But the main reason I didn't finish was because it's one of those things where I realize I'm like, I'm actually enjoying this and I don't want it to just be in the background when I watch it. Like I was talking about how I've been watching Avatar and Korra in the background. I've already seen those series. Like I don't necessarily need to be staring at the screen the entire time to know what's going on or at least remember what's going on. And I was interested enough in the story being told that I didn't want to like pull out my phone and start playing around on it. I wanted to just actually concentrate on the story being told, which means I'm going to be taking my time in a way I wouldn't have done with other series. So, yeah, kudos to the Riot team. And that's just my take off the first episode. And from my understanding, I've only scratched the surface. And if I'm walking away going, this is good on them.
Yeah, it gets really in depth. It's the kind of thing where like, so as someone that knows these stories, it's the kind of thing of like, I know what's gonna happen. I know where they end up, and so they did a really good job of like filling in the gaps of like, oh, okay, all of this fits and makes sense, and like why these characters are who they are, and like where they are and where they're going. Obviously I'm a little biased because like the two champions that I'm the closest to personally are in the show and like big parts of the show. So like for me there's a little bit of bias there, or a little bit of like a deeper understanding. So I was looking at it with a deeper lens than most people were. But yeah, the show's great. It's really well done. I'm blown away at how well they executed. And yeah, I just want you to watch it and see how you do. See how it comes across.
No, like I'm looking forward to finishing it, and it just was one of those scenes where I'm like, I didn't want to rush it either. Like I started watching it, God, Thursday. I think I watched it Thursday night, and it just was immediately like, oh, this is something I'm gonna sit and enjoy. This is not something I'm gonna rush through.
Right.
Which immediately means I'm not like I could sit down and binge it, but I didn't want it to be playing in the background at work because I knew if I had to do like when working, I couldn't just be watching it.
Right.
And I also needed to watch Hawkeye, and it was just like, okay, and I wanted to play Halo, and it was just like, okay, I'm not gonna get through this like before. Like I could have rushed through it, but I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much because I was enjoying it. And so I didn't want to sully that by like rushing through just so I could sit there and be like, I finished it in time for the episode, even though there was no reason I couldn't finished by today. So yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing it up, and we'll of course talk about it again once I do. But I think let's move on to the next thing. Because I think this was, you sent me this text, like immediately sent me a text message the moment this was rumor broke. But there's pretty strong rumors that Amazon is going to be getting the rights to Mass Effect for a TV series.
Yeah, I'm excited. Again, I'm excited that it's not a movie anymore and that it's a show.
Yeah, because this is something we've talked about, and as I'm slowly, very slowly working on our Mass Effect thing, one of the things I remember I've said after like watching through the story is I could see where the beats were. Like if you made like the first Mass Effect game a TV show, I could tell you exactly where the beats were for those stories. And there was that YouTube video that I know we shared in the past from, I forget the name of the channel, you might remember, but where they broke it down and they went, this is the next Game of Thrones type thing, just because of the amount of depth in the series. And it wasn't that you couldn't do it as a movie, but if you did it as a movie, you immediately are going to be doing like, okay, we're doing an action sci-fi. Straightforward 2-hour action sci-fi piece. It's like, yeah, I could see that working, but you would leave so much of the universe out. So I'm glad that it is moving from film to TV, but I think that's just a general trend too. Like, I feel like most places or studios anymore, when they look at something, I think they are more willing to do it as a TV show than a movie. Or if they think there is stuff there for a TV show, they're going to do it instead of a movie. Like Game of Thrones really did flip the script in some ways. Mandalorian helped push it too, where on some level, like you remember this when we worked at the theater, like the managers would be like, why is it dead? Why is it dead? And we're like, it's Sunday night and Game of Thrones is out.
Yeah.
It completely changed how people watch content. And I think and I've said this about the Star Wars sequel trilogy, I think one of the reasons why people were like always down on some of the character development in that series is I think the American viewing audience is so used to the character development that comes from the serialized storytelling we're getting in television. And they expect that same level of depth in the film, and you can't do that in film.
Yeah.
It goes also to like Queen's Gambit when we talked about it last year, how it was originally going to be a movie, and it's just like, again, you could see how the movie would work, but it would be nowhere near as good as the TV show.
Right.
And Mass Effect, I think, is a similar case where I think that's probably why Amazon did this or started talking to them about it, is they probably saw it as, another thing they could add to their Prime Video slate, because Expanse, I think the new season may have started already or it's starting soon, but it's the final season for at least the foreseeable future. They've already got 2 fantasy series. If they want to go into science fiction epic, well, yeah, they just bought MGM, so they have Stargate, but that's never really been epic. So Why not buy out Mass Effect?
Right.
It makes sense if that's kind of how they're going, because it seems like they are doubling down on the epic over at Amazon.
Yeah, I mean, Wheel of Time, I've heard nothing but good things.
I haven't watched it yet, which is why it's not on this to talk about. I don't know if I've said this on the podcast before. I could not get through the first book. Like I hated it. But I'm interested to give the series a shot. I just haven't done it yet.
Right.
But I mean, Amazon is willing to throw money at stuff too. Look how much money they're throwing at Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So Mass Effect won't be hindered by budget. Is I think the big thing.
Yeah, that was never going to be its problem.
Yeah. So your dreams, your prayers are answered, Chris. You're gonna get a
thank God.
TV series instead of a movie. But
Yeah, thank God.
speaking of TV series, well, let's wrap up the show with our final topic. Hawkeye. I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's wonderful.
Go ahead and throw the spoiler tag up, James. Yeah, no, it's. I remember this is kind of just been my general thing about the Marvel TV series is it feels like they're giving the character development that they couldn't do. It goes back to my point that I just made about how film can't always do this full level of character development. And they are willing to dive deeper into like the characters with these TV series. And
Yes.
honestly, it's what I think Marvel needed, and I'm really enjoying it. And Haley Steinfeld is perfect.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah, it's just fun to watch.
Yeah, the dynamic between Clint and Kate has always been like a standout in the comic and always something that like I think people greatly appreciate in the comic, and like even every piece of media that they've been a part of has been a joy to watch. So yeah, they they brought that to life here, and like again, everything that I love about the Fraction run is being brought to life here, and I love it. So they're doing a great job. And again, like I'm glad that people are starting to see like why I was so excited for this show in the first place. And like yeah, they're nailing it.
Yeah, I love the LARPer stuff too. It's so much
They're the best. Those guys, and like I'm happy too that they were able to execute the LARPers and the Tracksuit Mafia were the two biggest concerns that I had coming into the show of like I don't know how you're gonna execute these guys. And they're doing it great. So
yeah, I love the thing I love about the Tracksuit Mafia is like they're kind of treating it as like that is like the lamest thing ever is that they all wear tracksuits, but it's just it works.
yeah, they're great.
But no, Hawkeye fighting LARPers in a LARP is just perfect. The guy's like, I gotta beat you. No, it's a fun show to kind of dive into and watch, which is it also feels like they've taken a bit of a page from some of Shane Black's work where it's set at Christmas time, like so that's always kind of just running in the background. I do like that is giving also like some strife for Clint in the sense that he's wanting to have a normal holiday with his family.
Yeah, there's a timeline.
Yeah, like there's pressure on him to like try to have that normal life, and the only way he's going to do it is to seal things off.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know, it's really just been really fun. Like I've been looking forward to watching it. I was actually really upset when I first watched it because I hadn't watched it on the first day to come out because again I was up visiting family, so I just hadn't gotten to it until I was back in California. So by the time I watched it, 3 episodes were out. Mm-hmm. So I got to binge 3 episodes and then was like, crap, I have to wait.
Yeah, it's great.
So yeah, it's been a blast. Looking forward to more. How many more episodes are left?
There's 6 total, apparently. So we have 2 more.
2 more. Well, we've just had our new Black Widow appear.
Yeah. I'm hoping we get a moment of like uh a closure moment for both of them. Like they both have that realization, and they both have that like, oh, it's no one's fault, and nothing happened, and
What's her name?
like
It's Ellen Pugh, right? Or
Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh.
Yeah,
Um,
great. She's fantastic.
she was the best part of the Black Widow movie. Uh,
Yeah,
a movie that it's, eh. But
really, I
like
love it.
I I loved her in that movie, so I'm glad that they are continuing with her.
God,
Um,
I feel like, did we discuss this? I loved Black Widow. Oh wait, we did discuss this. We
we did
did.
discuss it. It was a movie where I was like, I could have watched this at home and been okay.
Yeah,
Um,
I watched it at home and I loved it.
yeah, I think my mistake was going to see it in a theater and being like, I could have spent a little less money and watched it from the comfort of my home. Um, I still need to watch Eternals.
Eternals is really good. I think
I
we
saw
discussed
that they
that as well.
announced the Disney Plus date, and I was like, it's so close. I'll just wait for Disney Plus.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, I'm really glad with how Hawkeye has been coming together, and how they've executed it. And also, can we just have a shout out to the Rogers the musical? And I could do this all day.
yes. And did you see that they released the full track?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, so there's the full track out in public, or out in the open, so you can listen to the full song.
I'm going to have to do that because watching that whole sequence, it was hilarious. I love the fact that there is now like a in-universe Captain America musical.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
It's just so funny.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's so wonderful.
What they really need to do is they need to take a dump truck full of money, go to Lin-Manuel Miranda and be like, here's this dump truck full of money. Can you make the full musical? I
It's
would
so
watch
good.
that so much.
It's so good. It's so well done.
So did they release just an audio track or did they
Yeah.
release like the full like
No, it's an audio track of like the full song.
mm, God. Honestly, because they've done like The Lion King, they've done Aladdin
Yeah,
as
well,
musicals on
so
Broadway.
I don't know if you know this. The entire sequence is full of like cameos from Broadway stars.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so the entire performance is Broadway stars that they got to do cameos.
So in other words, there's literally no reason why. Like they need to just do it. Just find Julie Taymor again and be like, you know how your Spider-Man musical didn't go anywhere and was like a huge
Fail.
snafu, overly expensive failure? Avengers. We already got one musical number for you. I could do this all day.
Yeah. So yeah, so after this go listen to that. It's pretty funny. It's pretty good.
But I also love that Hawkeye had turned off his hearing aid.
Yeah, he turned off his hearing aid and then he started to like tune out.
But I love how he keeps doing it too when he's just like, okay, I'm done. So like Kate is just talking and talking and he's just like, oh, okay, let me turn it on again because I need to talk now.
Yeah, actually.
Just, just those little things. But yeah, no, Hawkeye's been fantastic. I'm looking forward to seeing how it ends, and of course, we will talk about how it ends in a to be determined date in the future. I think that does it for Hawkeye. Anything else, Chris?
No. My life's been pretty boring.
Yeah, it's the holiday slowdown where I mean, it's not slowing down in terms of you have to do a bunch of stuff for family. Like I think I had an advantage because I had to do all my Christmas shopping before Thanksgiving. So because my family did Christmas at Thanksgiving, because my sister is going to her partner's parents' place for Christmas because he has little nieces and nephews who are around like Sam's age. So it's just like Christmas is a big deal.
Right.
So I've already done all my family shopping. So I don't really have like the craziness of holiday prep going on. Also, I'm not traveling for Christmas because we did Christmas and Thanksgiving. But like, I feel like work wise, in particular, especially, it's just like everyone is kind of starting to enter winter hibernation mode. Um, so yeah,
I feel you.
but yeah, I think we called it here, James. All right. Please like, share, subscribe, do all the fun things you're supposed to do. Also, stay safe, wear your masks, get your vaccine if you haven't gotten already. If you have got it already, get your booster. Don't be like me, get your booster. I'm going to get my booster, just haven't got it yet. If you have any questions or comments, concerns, or just random thoughts that you feel like sharing, you can always email us at feedback@quality3.net. Otherwise, we will see you guys in 2022. Holy crap, it's going to be 2022 in a couple of weeks.
Yes,
Where did all
sir.
of the time go? Let's go to the
COVID.
time machine and get it back. Surround
It
everybody.
went to COVID. COVID took it.